Who was interested first? Who said I love you first? Who's more protective? Who cleans more? Who eats the most? Who spends the most money? Who is most likely to start an argument? Who falls asleep first? Who is more annoying?
This one's for couples, 14 questions. Who apologizes the first after a fight? Who's the funny one? Who's more romantic? Who's more patient? Who's the better cook? Who said I love you first? Who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Who's the grumpier one in the morning? Who's more stubborn? Who's the bigger baby when sick? Who's the social butterfly? Who's the messy one? Who works out more? Who requires more attention?
10 questions for gay couples. Who made the first move? Who said I love you first? Who's the better cook? Who makes the most drama? Who works out more? Who has the better style? Who is more likely to get arrested? Who flirts with more people? Who is the bigger hoe? Who has the bigger ass? Who's packing more?
Questions for couples, gay edition. Who parties more? Who cooks more? Who tops more? Who spends more money? Who has a bigger butt? Who's scared of heights? Who likes to nap more? Who has a bigger wiener? Who farts more? Who starts more fights?
Who's more athletic?
Who has a bigger attitude?
Who's more cocky?
Who's healthier?
Who's more hyper?
Who's the weird one?
Who's more fun?
Who's the alpha in the relationship?
Who's the smarter one?
Who's the grosser one?
And who loves who more?
Okay, this one's for couples only. Who was interested first? Who's more needy? Who apologizes first after an argument? Who's more romantic? Who wears the pants in the relationship? Who's older? Who said I love you first? Who's the slower replier? Who's better at TikTok? Who spends the most money? Who's funnier? Who sleeps all the time? Who's the social butterfly?
Questions for couples, gay edition. Who parties more? Who cooks more? Who tops more? Who spends more money? Who has a bigger butt? Who's scared of heights? Who likes to nap more? Who has a bigger wiener? Who farts more? Who starts more fights? Questions for couples, gay edition. Who parties more? Who cooks more? Who tops more? Who spends more money? Who has a bigger butt? Who's scared of heights? Who likes to nap more? Who has a bigger wiener? Who farts more? Who starts more fights?
Who wears the pants? Who made the first move? Who's a better kisser? Who's smarter? Who works harder? Who's always right? Who's gonna make more money? Who wants to get married first? Who's funnier? Who wants more kids? Who wears the pants? Who needs the most attention? Who's more likely to get away with murder? Who's most athletic? Who buys better gifts? Who texts first in the morning? Who's more attractive? Who's the most adventurous? Who's hornier? Who's more outgoing? Who's most likely to become TikTok famous?
Questions for couples, gay edition. Who parties more? Who cooks more? Who tops more? Who spends more money? Who has a bigger butt? Who's scared of heights? Who likes to nap more? Who has a bigger wiener? Who farts more? Who starts more fights?
Who fell in love first? Who's more annoying when they're hungry? Who's the homebody in the relationship? Who's more spoiled? Who's more grumpy? Who lies more? Who takes care of the other when drunk? Who has better hygiene?
Yep.
Who calls or texts more? Who's the alpha in the relationship?
Yay.
Who has the cuter smile? Who loves the other person more? Who can't wait for marriage and kids?
10 questions for gay couples. Who gets their way more? Who is more likely to get eyebrow cuts or slits? Who has smoother game? Who came out first? Who seems tough but is really a softie? Who is more likely to propose? Who is always taking the other's stuff? Who lives more dangerously? Who would cope better with breaking up? And who is quicker to U-Haul?
13 awkward questions for couples. Whose family sucks more? Who is better at arguing? Who has better style? Who is the freakiest? Who loves the hardest? Who gets more jealous? Who has the biggest body count? Who is more likely to cheat? Who is the boss? Who fell in love first? Who eats more? Who is smarter? Who is messier?
This is for couples only. Who's the most fun in the relationship? Who makes the food in the relationship? Who's the most talented? Who's the most adventurous in the relationship? Who spends the most money in the relationship? Who's the best kisser? Who smells the best? Who loves the most? Who gives the best massages in the relationship? Last question, who will be the first to die in the relationship?
Questions for couples, gay edition. Who parties more? Who cooks more? Who tops more? Who spends more money? Who has a bigger butt? Who's scared of heights? Who likes to nap more? Who has a bigger wiener? Who farts more? Who starts more fights?